Welcome, everyone, to another Clone Wars discussion stream. In today's stream will be Season 4. So, yeah, all right, let's see who's in the chat. All right, it looks like we have Andrew Helm. Hello, Andrew Helm, and Obsidian Kite. Welcome to the stream. And, yeah, all right. Well, let's just get into the Season 4. All right, so first up, I'm just going to talk about the episodes and then first up we will just talk about the episodes. I'll go through kind of the episodes and then we'll discuss after that. So first up is what I'm calling the Mon Calamari arc, which is the first 3 episodes, and it's it's basically where on Mon Calamari, the Mon Calamari and the Quarren are at odds, and Count Dooku, up to his old tricks, is basically supporting the Quarren to join the Separatists, and the Mon Calamari still want to be with the Republic, so it leads to war. And these 3 episodes are basically that war. So, yeah, and the Mon Calamari king is assassinated. And, and his son, the prince, the Quarren don't want to support him. So, there's that. And then, yeah, so basically the war goes, the Quarrens attack, and that's when the Republic's sends in their some clones outfitted for aquatic missions and Kit Fisto, and they manage to fend the Quarrens off. But then the Quarrens, they have droids, so then they attack again, and the good guys lose. And then the next episode, they basically ask the Republic for help, and Gungans are sent, and they kind of still lose. Everyone gets captured except Ahsoka and the Prince. And then in the third one is basically the Prince uniting all of the prisoners, Mon Calamari and Quarren alike, in defeating the droids. And they managed that. And he is crowned king at the end of the episode. And that's that. All right. Yeah. This was a decent start to the 4th season. Yeah, it's a pretty good arc. It's cool. It's cool to see a different planet. I think this is the first time in Clone Wars that we see an aquatic planet. So yeah, that's always nice. And yeah, it's cool to see Kit Fisto shine in these episodes. However, I do have a slight issue with these episodes in that I don't think it makes sense that on an aquatic world you send Anakin and Padme as kind of the Republic's representatives. Why not send aquatic aliens so they don't have to rely on any equipment? Because Anakin and Padme are eventually going to run out of air, and that, to me, that's an issue. But yeah, and I'm biased. This would have been cooler if it was just a Kit Fisto episode rather than having Anakin in there. I don't think Anakin and Ahsoka needed to be in this arc, but other than that, yeah, I liked this arc a lot. So, all right, let's move on to the next episode, which is just a single episode. It's called Shadow Warrior, and in this episode, the Separatists land on Naboo, and the Gungans, they manage to capture General Grievous, but due to Anakin also being captured by Dooku, they basically do a prisoner exchange, and that's basically the episode. I wouldn't mind Aayla Secura being there with Kit Fisto. Oh, yeah. If you're gonna have a Jedi that needs well, let's just say, yeah, Fisto makes sense for an aquatic planet. If you're gonna, yeah, and yeah, if you want another Jedi, sure, Aayla Secura makes sense. Yeah, I wouldn't hate that. Apparently, Lee Char was a reversal of Charlie the tuna, the mascot of the U.S. brand of Starkist tuna. Really? That's interesting. I didn't know that. Hmm. All right. Well, back to the Gungans capturing General Grievous. Yeah, it's it's kind of interesting, but it is what it is. Um, yeah, kind of a I don't know, to me, kind of a throwaway episode because the events don't matter because yeah. All right. Well, let's. All right. The next two episodes are what I'm dubbing the misadventures of R2D2 and C3PO. And yeah, the first one is called Mercy Mission. And in this, C3PO and R2D2 are sent along with a detachment of, what is it, the 104th, Plo Koon's clone division. They're sent with a group of that to the planet of Aleen, which has suffered like earthquakes and catastrophe and stuff like that. So they're basically there to offer like humanitarian aid. And C3PO and R2D2 are there to, for translation and maybe repair some of the stuff or whatever. And yeah, so C3PO and R2D2, they discover a hole to the caverns below, and they go on a little quirky adventure. And once they get out of the cavern, the seal closes, and that kind of fixes the earthquakes in that because the underground is I guess doesn't like the surface air, and it's poisonous, so it's causing some issues. And yeah, so they solve that. And then the next episode, Nomad Droids, the two droids, they go on a couple of adventures after Aleen. They go to some planet, and it's kind of like Gulliver's Travels. So you have these little alien guys that like try and capture them. They kill the leader, and then they have an election. But the little alien guys, they fight amongst each other, and then R2 and 3PO escape, and then they go to another planet, and it's kind of like the Wizard of Oz because you have a couple of droids controlling some hologram that is leading some aliens and basically doing their bidding, and they basically stop that, and then they escape and get back to where they need to go. So yeah, kind of some interesting episodes, but yeah, if I remember correctly, she was in the same scene with him, but they do not interact at all. And then we have these two episodes were a bit of a downer. 3PO episodes are right down there with Jar Jar episodes. Yeah, because for some reason, they tend to have weird, or they're not important. Like you could cut these episodes out and you're not missing anything at all, unless you are a big fan of 3PO and R2D2. But even then, like these stories are kind of not fun. I don't know. C3PO and R2D2 are both the carriers and comedy duo of the franchise, as they always have been. True. That's true. Yeah. I just wish that they were given better like stories. If I don't mind having a C3PO and R2D2 episode here and there, but actually make a story that isn't over the top goofy and just weird. But I don't know. That's my opinion on that. All right. Let's see. Next is Umbara. The Umbara arc, which is 4 episodes. Yeah. This arc, you know, I remember watching it when it came out, weekly. And was this the first? Yeah, I think this was the first arc that I remember it coming out weekly. Well, I did watch season 1, but some of that weekly, but anyways, that's irrelevant. But yeah, I remember this arc, so yeah. Basically, this is where the Republic goes to the planet of Umbara, which is like a shadow world, basically. And they, they're obviously trying to retake it. So, the first episode, Darkness on Umbara. Anakin and the 501st are part of a group to invade Umbara. Not long into the battle, General Pong Krell takes command of the 501st, as Anakin needs to go back to Coruscant immediately for reasons. And yeah, that's basically the first episode. Kind of the landing and kind of the initial attack between the clones and the Umbarans. And so there's a little bit of a lull, and that's when Pong Krell comes. And then the next episode, the General, Krell continues to throw clone lives away. Fives proposes a plan to take he proposes a plan to take a Umbaran base, and Krell is against this, but it succeeds, and yeah, they have a base at that point. And then the third episode is kind of, it's more fighting, and Krell continues to rub some of the clones the wrong way with his style of leadership. And again, Fives and a few of his friends, they propose another plan. This time they're going to use some of the Umbaran ships to go up into space to a station to take out to take it out. So there's no like air support, and so they do this. They take it out, and Pong Krell is angry because he didn't okay that or whatever, and basically, yeah, one of the clones, the clones that participated in that, they're basically court-martialed and sentenced to execution by firing squad. But the clones don't do it because they don't want to fire on their brothers for basically completing the mission. And yeah, and then the last episode is, yeah, they discover Pong Krell is actually a traitor, as he wants to go join up with Dooku. So this episode just involves yeah, them chasing Pong Krell, and they manage to capture him, and then one of the clones shoots him, and that's kind of the episode. That's the arc. Pretty good clone arc. So I've always liked this arc. The Umbara arc was the high point of the season. I think I agree with that. Yeah, I think Umbara, it's a world that we've never seen before, which I always am appreciative of, and it's a clone story, so we develop more of the clone characters, which I think is always a good thing. And yeah, then we're introduced to Pong Krell, who he's a cool looking Jedi. He uses 2 double-bladed lightsabers, and yeah, and then that reveal at the end in the last episode that he's basically a bad guy. It was cool. It was a cool arc. It was fun. Yeah, good one. All right, then we have what I'm calling the Zygerian Slaver arc, which is 3 episodes, and yeah, the usual suspects. That's Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka. They rescue Togruta colonists from Kiros out of the clutches of the Zygerians. So, yeah, the first episode is them going to the planet and basically discovering, oh, they're not there. And then the second episode is them going to Zygeria to try and find where the colonists are. their plans don't go awry. Obi-Wan gets captured. Anakin, his disguise gets revealed as, he tries to rescue Obi-Wan, but then he's captured, and he basically is made a slave of the Zygerian queen. And then in the third episode, they manage to find the location of the Togruta colonists, and yeah, they rescue the colonists with the help of is it an acclimator or is it a venator? Anyways, yeah, they rescue the colonists. They save the day. They take out the that prison that they were held, and yeah, weaken the Zygerian slavers even more. The only Umbaran character we may have seen in the films is Sly Moore, as she was one of Palpatine's aide. Yes, I think she's yes, I do think she's Umbaran. So yeah, it's cool to always get planets to the species and to kind of see like, oh, the different cultures and the different aliens and stuff like that. So that's interesting. Yeah. It would be cool to explore different planets in the movies and the TV shows rather than just, going to Tatooine all the time. The Z-95s flown by the clones were taken from Brian Daley's Han Solo novels. Yes, that's what I've noticed from reading the EU is the Z-95 headhunters. They pop up in several EU books like in the like in the 90s and as you said, the Brian Daley Han Solo novels. Yeah, they kind of pop up a lot. So yeah. So yeah, I mean that's interesting. It's cool. But again, like, are they the exact same design, or did they like tweak them for the Clone Wars? I can't remember how they're described in the books, but I just know that they're always described as like they're an older class of ship. Yeah, they're kind of the lemons of starfighters in some of those books. All right. What do we got? Next is a single episode. It's titled A Friend in Need. And in this, Ahsoka gets mixed up in an attempt at taking out Dooku. Lux Bonitary is in league with Death Watch for revenge as Dooku killed his mother. They terrorize the locals. Ahsoka and R2 save the day. And yeah, it's kind of a whatever episode, really. If you really like Ahsoka, you probably really enjoy this episode, maybe. It's cool to see Death Watch again, I mean, being scumbags. I guess that's cool, but yeah, it's an okay episode. Nothing that blows you away, but it is one episode, so. And then the next 4 episodes is what I'm calling Obi-Wan Undercover. And yeah, so Obi-Wan goes undercover as Reiko Hardeen, who they basically stage it so Obi-Wan dies, and then he goes undercover as Reiko Hardeen to learn more about a plot to kidnap the Chancellor. And once there, he goes to prison. He learns the plan. Cad Bane breaks him and what's the one guy? Moralo Evol. They break out. They go to Nal Hutta to get supplies and a new ship, and they arrive on Sereno, where there is a test for bounty hunters to assemble a team to go on the actual mission. Let's see, and then the mission, yeah, it's a series of challenges that 12 bounty hunters go in, 5 come out rather, And yeah, so they assemble the team and they go to Naboo to kidnap the Chancellor, but it is obviously thwarted by Obi-Wan and Anakin. And yeah, this I remember this arc. I liked this arc. I think it's a cool premise. I don't know if it needed to be Obi-Wan Kenobi doing the undercover stuff. I think you could have had some other Jedi do it, and I think it still would have been good, but that's just me. By the way, Slaves of the Republic arc deviates a lot from its comic book originator. Zygerians, for one, was changed from its comic book counterparts, which I find it questionable. Yes, I recently learned that there was a comic book that they basically took bits and little pieces from to make that, which it's just a shame that it's like, if you're gonna use that comic book, why not just adapt that comic book into the episodes of the Clone Wars? Why do you got to just cherry pick little things? Just take that and adapt it. I see nothing wrong with that. That would have been cool to see that comic book brought to life in the show. But that's what they should have done with the TCW in general. Is any cool story from a EU comic or a novel, I see nothing wrong with adapting that comic or novel into episode format so you could see that play out like that. I think that would have been cool. Not too keen on the undercover Obi-Wan episodes. Yeah. They're not everyone's cup of tea. As for Pong Krell, wasn't even close enough as a villain. We already got Zirius Ugg. Zirius Ugg. I don't know who Zirius Ugg is. He's got a interesting name. Yeah. And where is Zirius Ugg from? I would be curious to know, Obsidian. Yeah. All right. As for the undercover Obi-Wan arc, yeah. It's an interesting episode or arc, but it's got some fun moments, but it's yeah. One thing that I do kind of find weird is when Obi-Wan is going undercover, they basically use some, I don't know, injection thing that changes his face into Reiko Hardeen. And I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense in Star Wars or not. It's kind of hard to say. And then you see him in the next, after this, in like the next episode, he's completely, he has hair and he has a beard, because when he goes undercover, he has to shave his hair and his beard. So to me, it's like, and he's got a decent, beard and hair. Like, it's not like that grows back in a few weeks or a couple of months, even. Like, it would take a little while to grow back. So, but maybe they gave him magical hair growth or whatever, and yeah, it didn't matter. But yeah. All right, what do we got next? Next is a couple of Ventress episodes. So in the first one, Ventress and the Night Sisters are attacked by Grievous and a droid army sent to Dathomir for one thing: the slaughter of all who call themselves Night Sisters. As this is basically revenge for all of the scheming and whatever that Ventress was trying to do to Dooku. And then basically the Night Sisters get annihilated. So Ventress flees, and yeah, that's kind of the episode. And then the next episode, Ventress joins Boba Fett's team on a mission, and basically this mission, they have to protect this chest, and it has to get to the destination of the alien leader. And throughout the train ride, it gets attacked, and the bounty hunter team does manage to fend off the attackers for most of the train ride, but then the chest is knocked over and you discover it's actually a girl. And, basically this girl was kidnapped from the people trying to get her back by the king and his people. So, So Ventress, she's like, oh, well, I was in your shoes one time. So basically, she decides to help the girl by giving her to her people. She does, get money out of that. And then, she humiliates Boba by putting him in the chest. So when the king opens the chest, Boba Fett pops out and he's, disappointed. But yeah, that's that episode. These two episodes, I don't know, they're okay. The one where the Night Sisters get decimated, it's fine. And then the bounty hunting mission, it's okay. Not my favorite. Yeah, I do know that Ventress is vastly different in the Clone Wars than in like the comics and the some of the other EU sources. She never becomes a bounty hunter, and other stuff like that. So it is interesting that they kind of just went their own way. But again, like as is the case with TCW, they often overwrite EU stories, which is a shame because those EU stories are usually better. So yeah, not a fan of that. And Dave Filoni still does that with the current Disney canon stuff. He just overwrites. If it wasn't his stuff, he doesn't care. And even when it is his stuff, he still overwrites it for reasons. But anyways, Ventress basically commits exit stage left and never be seen again. Are you talking from the EU stuff, like the pre TCW stuff? Yeah. I can't wait to read all the the Republic comics and other EU stuff. I haven't really delved much into the comic stuff, so I'm really excited for that. Yep. All right. Cool. Yeah. Yep. All right. And then the final two episodes of season 4. The first one has Savage Opress find his brother, Darth Maul, and he's on a garbage planet. He's insane. He's got a spider basically attached to the lower half of his body. And he's basically insane. So Savage takes him to Dathomir, and Mother Talzin basically rejuvenates him. He makes him not as insane, and she gives him new robotic legs. Yeah, and that's that episode. Then the next episode is Maul and Savage. They go in search of Obi-Wan Kenobi for revenge. So they get his attention by going to a planet and basically slaughtering the innocent. And Obi-Wan, as a Jedi, he cannot ignore that, especially when they're calling him out by name. So he goes to the planet, and it's obviously a trap. He gets captured, and so Maul and Savage, they take him to their ship. Ventress, she's a bounty hunter, so she saw that a bounty on Savage had been posted of 1,000,000 credits, so she goes after him. So Ventress and Obi-Wan basically team up to fight Maul and Savage. Basically, this just results in a little bit of dueling, and then Obi-Wan and Ventress, they escape as they're outmatched, I guess. And and they leave Maul and Savage basically adrift in the remainder of the ship. And that's where season 4 ends. That's okay. All right. And then we have not too keen on the Darth Maul resurrection episodes. When I was first watching, Clone Wars back years ago, I liked it because I love Darth Maul. I still do. But the older I get, the more how they basically explain how Darth Maul came back, just as kind of it's better than what they did for Rise of Skywalker with Palpatine, where they basically just said somehow he returned. At least they try to give some explanation with Darth Maul that because he really hates Obi-Wan Kenobi, and that basically kept him alive. But yeah, it's a little rough. There's other ways they could have had it. They could have had it that some, I don't know, garbage guy in Naboo or wherever that where he fell on Naboo, wherever that leads. So wherever Darth Maul eventually lands up, you could have some person pick him up and yeah, or you don't have to resurrect Darth Maul. I guess, was Darth Maul the precursor of all this resurrecting dead characters in Star Wars? Probably. And then if you're going to bring back a dead character, it needs to make sense, and you need to tell stories with said character. You can't just bring him back from the dead and do nothing with him. So, yeah. But Basilisk Separatist Commander from the comics too wasn't even in this show. I believe Darts Dinar replaced him. Huh, a Basilisk Separatist Commander. That sounds kind of cool. Interesting. Man, I really need to read the comics. I'm missing out on stuff. Well, all right. Okay, that's season 4. Let's see, overall, is it better than season 3? Personally, I think it's about the same, really. I think both season 3 and season 4 have good episodes, they have bad episodes, and they have kind of medium episodes. I don't think there's like more episodes in this season that I like over season 3. So yeah, it will be interesting when we get to season 5. As yes, I can already say that there's 2 arcs that I don't like at all, and then there's so you could probably guess what the 2 arcs in season 5 I don't like are, but they resurrected Boba Fett in the EU. Another bad decision. True. Yep, they did resurrect him. Yeah. I haven't read a whole lot of stories with Boba Fett post Return of the Jedi. The only thing I've read is the Bounty Hunter War trilogy, and if you've read that trilogy, you know that it isn't very good. So hopefully they do some interesting things with him later on, but I don't know. So, but yeah, basically, if you kill off a character, just let that character stay dead. Especially if it's a nice heroic death. Don't ruin a hero's death by bringing them back. That wouldn't be very good, But not that I think they did that in Star Wars, because most of like the main heroes, they didn't die. So all right, well, yeah, that's about it for this stream, unless there's anything else. Yeah. Well, the next live stream I will be doing will be on the 16th of January. It will be a anniversary stream. That'll be 2 years of me uploading YouTube videos. Yeah, that's what I've got planned next in terms of streams. So yeah, you can look forward to that. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Yeah, I think yeah, well, thank you to everyone that has watched today's stream, and thank you to Andrew Helm and Obsidian Kite for commenting. Real fast, we have another comment. Fett's death in Jedi was less than heroic, complete with Wilhelm scream. True, his death was not heroic. It was actually a very underwhelming death. But yeah, it is a shame that he kind of died that way. Oh well, it happens. One thing to note that Savage Opress kills more Jedi than even his red tattooed brother Darth Maul. That is true because he kills what, like at least 3 or 4 that we see in Clone Wars, because he kills those 2 Jedi that Dooku sends him to that temple for, and then he kills Adi Gallia, and then does he kill anybody else? Yeah, so that's 3 just in the show that I can name right off the top of my head. And then yeah, Darth Maul is what, just Qui-Gon Jinn? Yeah. But obviously in comics and novels that total would be different, right? Does he kill any Jedi in Shadowhunter? I can't remember. It's been a while since I've read that book. Does he? No, he doesn't kill any Jedi in Maul Lockdown. Yeah, that is interesting. Well, you could also point out this, that Savage Opress kills more Jedi than General Grievous does in the Clone Wars. And General Grievous is supposed to be a scourge of Jedi, yet he barely kills any Jedi in the Clone Wars. It is just Nadar Veb. That's it. He almost kills Eth Koth, but he lives. So, what was the point of bringing Maul back when Savage could have been an asset to the Confederacy, not as Ventress's replacement, but maybe as Darkseid? Yes, I agree. I don't think bringing Darth Maul back makes a whole lot of sense, because I think what's wrong with just having Savage Opress basically take his place? You want a cool Zabrak bad guy? There's loads. You just go get a new one. We don't need to bring Darth Maul back. I agree with that. Um, yeah, I think you could have basically told the same story and not have Darth Maul be involved, because it's a complication that they didn't need. And plus, it would give Savage more time to develop and grow as a character, which I think would have been good for him. Because once they bring Darth Maul back, Savage Opress is basically just Maul's sidekick that eventually dies. So, yeah, I agree with that. That's a good point. Yeah, I don't think that was the best decision to bring him back in the long run. Yeah, yes, it was cool and flashy and like a surprise, but yeah, when you really sit back and think about it, it's like they didn't need to do this, and yeah, it doesn't even really lead to a whole lot of stuff. Like, yeah, because in season 5, it leads to Maul taking over, I guess, the criminal empire, which is kind of cool. But again, like again, Savage Opress or another Zabrak. It doesn't have to be Savage Opress, but yeah, you could have told the same story that Maul had with just a different Zabrak character, and yeah, it would have been cool to have another dark side adept or whatever. So, yes, I agree with that. All right. Some good points. All right. If the chat is not going to put any other interesting little things in the chat, I think I will end the stream here. So, yeah. Thanks for everyone who watched. Thank you to Andrew and Obsidian for commenting. And yeah, I'll see you in the next live stream, which will be on the 16th of January. So you can look forward to that if you want. The next Clone Wars stream will be, I don't know, the 22nd. It'll be the Monday after the 16th, whatever day that is. So yeah, you're welcome for the stream. Thank you for watching. And yeah, so I will see you next time. Have a happy new year.